All right. Well, it is Wednesday afternoon, and I'm here hanging out with Rocky. You can see Rocky's asleep there on his pillow in the window. There he is. Okay. I'd start singing "How Much Is That Kitty" in the window, but he's not for sale. I couldn't part with him for any price. Anyway, I am. There's a village not too far from my hometown, a village called Lanark. Just a little village. It's north of my hometown. It's about a half-hour drive from there. And in that village, there used to be a place called the Kitten Mill. It was called the Glen Kitten Mill. And it's been closed down now since around 1991 or something. It's been closed for a lot of years, and the buildings have sat there abandoned. They're old stone buildings. They're actually heritage buildings, but they've been allowed to fall into a state of disrepair. And now Lanark Highlands Township, which has the authority there over things like that, has ordered them demolished. So they're now in the process of being demolished, which is kind of sad. But what the Kitten Mill was, it was a place where you could go and you could actually see the ladies in the back working the sewing machines. They had a bunch of women working in there running sewing machines, and they would actually make clothes. And the clothes were all for sale. So when you were shopping in the store, you see there was a big picture window that you could look through to the back there and see the ladies sewing the clothes. And they were literally bringing new clothes out that had just been sewed as you were shopping and stuff. All very high quality things, like all everything double and triple stitched and very well made and economical, very cheap. Like you could buy a real good dress shirt there for back in the 1980s. You could buy a real good dress shirt there for like $3. It was that sort of a thing. A shirt that would, in those days, would probably have cost you $15 or $20 anywhere else would cost you $3 there. Like a really nice cotton dress shirt or whatever. Anyway, they made shirts and pants and dresses and any kind of clothing you can think of they made there, and it was all really cheap and it was all high quality. It's too bad, really, that the place went under, but it did. And guess times changed or whatever, and it just got that it was no longer economically viable. But the thing is, people used to come from all over to visit the kitten mill. And of course, now it's being torn down. I mean, I remember it well. I shopped there different times when I was young, and I wish we had a place like that now because everything is so expensive. It's terrible. You could buy a brand new, well-made shirt there back then for less than it would cost you now to go to a thrift store and buy a used shirt made in some third world hellhole of a country with slave labor, and really poorly made at that. I mean, you could really get some nice stuff there anyway. And I had a few shirts and pairs of pants and things from there, and jeans and whatnot, denim jeans, and obviously they weren't brand name, but they were good. They were very well made. Anyway, they're tearing it down now, which is really too bad. But I'm going to tell you a story. My niece Emily, who was born in 1998, so never was ever in the kitten mill or whatever. Had no idea even didn't even know what the kitten mill was. Um, when she was born in 98. Like I say, the kitten mill closed around 90, 91 in there, so it had been gone a few years before she was born. But I have a tendency, and maybe I shouldn't do this, but I have a tendency sometimes to like to tell stories to kids just to freak them out a little bit. Now, I always eventually tell them the truth. I don't keep them believing something that isn't true, but sometimes I'll do that. And my niece Emily had an obsession with cats. When she was a little girl, she just was in love with cats to the point that she was obsessed with them. And in fact, when she started school, the other kids started teasing her and calling her the crazy cat lady because she had this thing about cats. And she had this one pet cat, even, that when she'd walk to school in the morning, this cat would follow her. I'd follow her right to the gates of the schoolyard. And then when it was time to come home, the cat would come up. The cat knew, and the cat would come up and wait for her at the school gate and walk her home. And the cat would climb every tree. It'd go up every tree on the way to school and back down again. And then get right up behind her and follow her to come to the next tree. And it'd go up that tree and come back down and run up behind her again and follow her. So she got to be known as the crazy cat lady anyway in school. But she used to say that if there was such a thing as reincarnation, she wanted to come back as a cat in her next life. Anyway, somebody gave me a bunch of plastic shopping bags from the Glen Eyre Kitten Mill. And I can't remember who gave them to me now, but it was somebody that had worked there at one time, and they had a big stack of them, and they gave them to me. And so I had these. This is when Emily was just a little girl. This would have been in the early 2000s. So the Kitten Mill had already been closed for about 10 years, 10 or 12 years at that time, and Emily was only maybe 7 or 8 years old. Something like that, 6 or 7 or 8, I can't remember now. But anyway, she really liked those bags. They had a picture of a kitten on them with a ball of yarn and stuff, and she really liked these bags. And she was asking me about them because I brought some stuff up to Ottawa with me when I came to visit that had these in one of these bags. So she was really intrigued by it, and she was asking me about the Glen Eyre Kitten Mill and what it was and all that. So, of course, instead of telling her the real story, I told her that it was a flour mill. Used to grind, to make flour. There was a grinding mill to make flour. And I told her that in the old days, when we buy bread and whatnot, there was a bread that was called kitten bread, and it was made from kittens. And what they do is they grind the kittens in the flour at the Glen Eyre Kitten Mill, and that's how they made the flour to make this kitten bread. I told her it's not made anymore. It's a thing of the past now. You won't be able to get it anywhere. But it was quite good. I said it had a nice taste to it, and it was always very moist and everything. It'd make a beautiful sandwich with that bread, I told her. Well, the poor little thing was mortified anyway. So I did tell her the truth anyway. I told her that, no, I said it was actually a place where they made clothing. And it was called the Glen Eyre Kitten Mill, but I said they made clothing there is what they did. And there were no cats injured there or anything. There were no kittens ground in the flour there or anything like that. But I remember I told her that anyway. Probably wasn't the best thing to do, really. But like I say, I have a strange sense of humor. Maybe some people listening to this will be kind of mad at me for doing that, and maybe they should be. I don't know. But another thing we have up here in Canada, we have a chain of department stores, discount department stores, and they're called Giant Tiger. And their mascot is a tiger, a yellow tiger with black stripes, that they see that on their sign and everything, this yellow tiger. Anyway, Giant Tiger it's called. Well, I remember I told Emily one time when she was small, because Giant Tiger started when I was just small. Like I remember we got a Giant Tiger in our hometown when I was very small. My grandmother was pretty excited about it because it meant that there was a place where you could get stuff for a reasonable price in the town, And of course she was a product of the Depression, so that was a big deal to her. It was to anybody who came through the Depression. But anyway, I told Emily one time when she was small that how Giant Tiger got its name was the way they were able to keep their prices so low was because they sold so much stuff so quickly every day. It was just because they had so many customers coming through and buying so much stuff that they were able to keep their prices so low. They did it with volume, basically, volume of sales, I told her. And I said, how they used to do it, though, to make sure that the customers didn't loiter around in the store too long, so that the store wasn't just full of people who weren't really buying anything, is they used to turn a big tiger loose in the store, a big tiger that they hadn't fed, so it was hungry, and, and it'd just wander the aisles. And I said, people were so frightened of the thing that they'd just get what they needed and get out before the tiger got them. So I told her that, I said, every so often somebody did get eaten by the tiger, but that was just the price you had to pay for a good price on, to get things at a reasonable price. We just accepted that that was the price you had to pay, is you might get eaten by a tiger. But it was well worth it to save a couple of dollars on something, or 50 cents on something, or whatever, You just took your chances. But again, I did tell her the truth, though, after that. I kind of had her freaked out a bit, but I did tell her the truth anyway after that. But, you know, anyway, I do stuff like that. It's funny, my cousin, one of my cousins a few years back, she was pregnant with her third child, and she had the test done and everything, and they knew it was going to be a little girl. She already had two little girls, and I used to tease the oldest girl there, my cousin's daughter. I used to tell her that the baby was going to be named Eunice, that was going to be the baby's name, Eunice, you know. And I used to say, I think Eunice is a beautiful name, and your baby sister's going to have that beautiful name. So she'd get mad at me, Oh, she no, it is not, you know. Eunice is a stupid name, she'd say. I'd say, oh no, it's a beautiful name. I said, Eunice Hortense. That's what I told her. Eunice Hortense. That's going to be her name. First name's going to be Eunice, and her middle name will be Hortense, and it's going to be beautiful. I said, isn't that a lovely name? I said, that's just a beautiful name for a beautiful baby girl, Eunice Hortense. Oh, she'd get mad at me, Eunice Hortense. So to the youngest of the three children, whose name is actually Brylan, it isn't Eunice Hortense, it's Brylan. Before you were born, if you watch this someday, I used to tease your oldest sister, Lucinda, and she'd get mad at me when you were expected by telling her that you were going to be named Eunice Hortense. So there you go. She could tell you all about it anyway. I'm sure she remembers that. But that's the story. There you have it. Anyway, that's just a little bit about me teasing kids and probably traumatizing them for life. But, but they say you take your pleasures where you find them, I guess. And for me, that's just something I kind of like to do. I don't know. Maybe it's wrong, but, something I like to do. But it's funny, in my family, though, we used to do that. When I was a kid, I used to get teased like that, too, by the other kids and stuff, by the older kids in the family. They'd tell me things like that. Sometimes my dad would do that to me, too. He'd tell me some far-out thing that would freak me right out, but it wasn't true. But he'd just to get me going, he'd tell me something, that was completely off the wall. But he'd always tell me eventually that it wasn't true, that he just wanted to get me going or whatever, So I guess that's where I get it from. Anyway, that's it for now. Just some comical stories. I hope they're comical anyway. I hope that Children's Aid doesn't get called on me for admitting to doing this, to traumatizing the little kids. But anyway, that's it. That's it. Anyway, I had some fun with it. I try telling Rocky off-the-wall stories, but he's too smart for that. He never believes me. He just says, oh, shut up. What are you talking about now? I'm trying to sleep over here. Don't be telling me lies. Look at him. Isn't he a beautiful creature? A true gift from God, that Rocky is. Anyway, that's it for now. Hope you're all having a good day so far, and Rocky and I will see you later.